Hi, this is Scott Gietler from Bluewater Photo, and today I'm going to talk about a new camera coming out called the Canon G7X. Actually, there's 4 new cameras coming out this fall of 2014, the Canon G7X, the Olympus EPL7, the Canon 7D Mark II, and the Nikon D750. And what we're going to do is I'm going to talk about each of these cameras in a separate video, and we're going to decide, do we think this camera is going to be hot for underwater photography and video or not? Let's talk about the Canon G7. It's positioned to sit in between the Canon G16 and the Canon G1X. And this is Canon's first camera that has a 1-inch sensor. What does that mean? It has the same sensor size as the Sony RX100, 102, and 103, and it may actually be, some people think it's pretty much the same exact sensor from Sony. The camera is also very small. It's about the same size as the Sony RX103. It has a 24 to 100 millimeter lens. So the question is this camera going to be a good, viable option to the Sony RX100 cameras? And if so, why? When looking at the spec of this camera, because it's a 24 millimeter lens and not 28 millimeter, the wide angle capabilities with a fisheye lens are not going to be as good as the Sony RX100 II. Also on macro, the macro capability is not going to be as good as the G16, which can zoom all the way into 140 millimeters. And if you look at the video specs are not as good as the Sony RX100 III, which has a very high bit rate and takes great video. So this camera is coming out at the end of October. We're going to get it and test it, obviously, but I think that if you want to do really good macro, you're going to be getting the Canon G16 if you want a compact camera. If you want to do really great wide angle, you're going to get the Sony RX100 II. And if your main focus is video, you'll probably get the Sony RX100 III. So where does that leave the Canon G7? I don't know. It could be, you know, for people who really like Canon G series cameras and you know, are looking for pretty decent macro and decent wide angle. But I think for me, I'd rather be using the Sony until I see otherwise. A lot of the Canon G7 features are really just meant for topside, and they're not going to give you a big advantage underwater. But wait and see. When we get this camera, we're going to test it out. Hopefully there'll be some housings for it. Although we'll see, because I think the housing manufacturers are going to be very unclear what the demand is going to be for this camera, because Canon's compacts are getting very crowded with the G16, the G1X Mark II, and now the G7X. If you have any questions, or if you want to know if this camera is right for you, please don't hesitate to call any of my staff or myself. Contact us at bluewaterphotostore.com. And thanks for watching the video.